Well, hey everybody, welcome to Hanging Out with Successful Bar Exam Takers, and I guess it's the luck of the Irish. We have Alex Talcott with us today. And Alex, congratulations. Not only are you supporting a team that's probably doing better than my USC Trojans right now, but you passed the bar exam and got the word yesterday, correct?
Yes, that's right. From an Amtrak train after 25 hours of travel from New Hampshire to Boston, all the way out to South Bend, Indiana. Right before I got off the train, I logged in and got the good news.
Oh, great. Well, this was the uniform bar exam for New Hampshire, right?
That's right.
Okay, well, congratulations. That's awesome news. It's a great way to get it on a game day weekend, and I can see you're ready for the game, and so we're not going to keep you real long so that you can get out there. But I really wanted you to be able to share your story with our audience today. And let's just start with you telling us a little bit about your background and how you came to be in a position to take the bar.
Sure. Well, I went to college out in New Hampshire at Dartmouth, met my wife there, dragged her out to the Midwest so I could go to Notre Dame, and she worked in Chicago. And best work opportunities graduating from law school in 2007 were certainly in the Chicago market. I worked for a great firm there and took the July 2007 bar, Illinois bar that is, and was successful with that. And actually, after I took that bar exam, quoted Davy Crockett to my test takers and said, "You all can go to hell, I'm going to Texas." And I hopped on a Amtrak train and took a long post-bar exam celebratory trip in 2007. So it's kismet, it's coincidence that 10 years later, here I am when I get the news after an Amtrak train ride. I practiced law for several years in Illinois, started teaching more at the secondary and college level. I had twins in 2014, which definitely encouraged me to want to go back to the private sector. I actually started a financial planning practice through Ameriprise at that time. Was very fortunate to have the company encouraging of continuing to teach law part-time at the university level, but also to resume a formal legal practice and affiliation. And so that meant getting barred up again 10 years later. And so I went for it and was super happy to be successful with it. I now have 3 kids, 3 and unders, and 3 jobs. So getting the bar exam done had to be done flexibly and intently, and that's what we accomplished with Celebration Bar Review.
Wow, that's phenomenal. And having twin sisters, I can appreciate the there's nothing like twins. I just don't even know what to tell you. That's awesome, though. So you're working all these jobs. It's been 10 years since you'd taken the bar. What was it like to go back to studying? I mean, you've been teaching, so you've been in the academic world. What's it like to be on the other side of the desk there and studying?
Yeah, it's both an advantage and a disadvantage. It's an advantage because some of the key lingo is fresh in my head. I mean, of course, I didn't, and none of us forget duty, breach, causation, damages. But beyond that, that kind of second tier of legal vocabulary that you don't necessarily employ unless you're fully engaged in practice, studying, or teaching. I had more at my tip as a teacher over these years. And I also had somewhat of an advantage because in the intervening period, I took the Series 7. I took the Series 66 for, so I've taken standardized tests over the years also. So that wasn't as big a deal. I would just say when it came to some essays or not overthinking multiple choice questions, that was something that was kind of tricky, where I had to almost go into that place that you encourage your students to go to, where we rely on our subconscious and not so much on remembering the intimate details of, how did I pull this off at the Daily Center in Chicago when I was a first or second year associate and I had to get this done as a matter of civil procedure. That is less relevant than answering a multiple choice question level question about civil procedure or anything. So my day-to-day practice experience over the years was not really relevant to this test at all.
Yeah.
So I needed a real bar review.
Yeah. So there you go. When you started your studies, how many hours a week would you say you were studying for the bar exam this time around?
As with everything, got off to a really good start. The first few days and everything, when all the enthusiasm was there. Within an hour of signing up for your course. I had emails and things to start doing and to start reading, and I really went with that momentum in the initial days. As with everything, when you have a hard and fast deadline, getting ahead early on is really important. You just build in that flex time if and when life happens over the months before the exact exam date. So those first few days, those first few weeks, I was pretty hot, I would say, in terms of the number of hours a day. And then certainly as work got busy, as kids got sick, as summer vacations came, I did have some days where it wasn't always more than 25 or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah. And when did you start studying for the July exam?
I don't remember whether it was maybe March or April that I signed up for the.
So in the spring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I signed up specifically for the MBE. The MBE was really important for me to sign up for and to own. I felt like I had a personal cushion with essay writing. Writing's always been a strong point in an interest. I went to a college summer camp for writing after third grade. On the train ride out here, I was writing a letter to the editor of a local newspaper. I love to write, so I felt like I would be okay on essays. But the MBE was where I was like, Jackson, take the wheel.
Yeah, sometimes. All right, good. So you're working, you're being a dad, you've got all the things going on, and you're studying for the bar. Where did you put in that bar study time? Was it like during the day? Was it at night, weekends? How did you kind of insert that into your schedule? I think people are always curious about how that happens.
It was inconsistent for me, and I'm in a fortunate position where I make my own hours for work, which any business owner knows. Oh, when you make your own hours, that means you make an awful lot of them. Thus, us talking to one another on a Saturday morning. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So I have my own book of business as a financial planner. I schedule my own clients. I pick my own clients if they will have me. I do have an affiliation with the law firm also. And same deal in terms of being able to say yes and no and make certain time available for it. And then even with my teaching schedule, in the past I've taught online. I'm currently teaching on campus. But again, on a semester to semester basis, I'm picking my days and my hours and everything. So I did not have a model week or anything like that. I find the time, I make the most of my time. If something is down or something's not working out or I'm not feeling like doing this kind of work, the benefit of having 3 jobs is, I can take a break from this job and just work on this job. And it feels like it's the way we psych ourselves out sometimes.
I like that. I like that a lot. Now, you used our online course, but you also had printed books from us, right?
I'm not sure I bought them. I think they were maybe sent to me by mistake, but you guys were nice enough to be like, you know what, let's not nickel and dime the guy, keep them, good luck. Okay. So I got them fortuitously, I believe.
Okay. And did you use the printed books or did you use the online version?
I brought some of the printed books with me on vacation to kind of give my eyes a screen break or something. If I knew I was going to be on a beach and I didn't want the glare and I wanted to cuddle up with it a little bit. That was good in terms of making me feel like I was being productive and I wasn't taking a full vacation. But frankly, that was not the most efficient reading and studying that I did. I found that the online PDF versions were better because just the natural way that we see what I'm doing, scroll down, that encourages the level of skimming and or photo reading that you encourage. So it kind of forces you through the material at less of a deliberate clip. So I actually thought that the on-screen reading was more efficient for me.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I like it when people are using the online version and being able to scroll through. What about question practice? How much question practice did you do as you were preparing?
I knew that would be an area where I needed to force some accountability upon myself, left to my own devices, even having had success in past exams. I tend to do less question practice than other students or other curriculum encourages. Sometimes I don't even want to face the accountability of getting questions wrong. So there have been times where I re-scored things and almost use it as a reading exercise to read the question, read the right answer and everything. So I haven't been as good with that. This time through, I probably did more questions than I have in the past because I was that serious about getting the job done. I would say, though, one of the things that really, the number one thing that brought me to buying the course was the video lectures and the extent of them, the sheer hours of them, because I knew no matter what, no matter how tired I was from other jobs or whatever, I knew I'd be able to get through that number of hours and kind of treat studying, if nothing else, as a binge watch. I did follow through and do more than just the binge watch, but having that sheer number of hours of video lectures was the key thing that made me purchase the course.
Cool. That's awesome. I appreciate that. So you went through, you did all the study, and now it's time for the bar exam. What was it like going back and taking the bar 10 years later?
My wife has a good sense of humor about it because she knows I've been teaching front of classroom business law as my bread and butter course for 6 years now. And so I walk into these buildings to teach primarily undergraduates. I'm starting to teach some MBA students in the spring. But I was definitely thinking of like a former Stanford Dean, Kathleen Sullivan, who wrote my con law textbook in law school and had trouble with the California bar when she had to take it, when she sought to resume practice. So I definitely had a whole, oh, geez, don't be a hypocrite thing. You know,
hey, no pressure.
Yeah, so I found myself thinking about the bar exam more when I was going into these buildings to teach, knowing full well I was going to be on the test taker side. So that was in the back of my mind a little bit, but getting in a certain zone was really important. I would say it was maybe a little bit of a zone that I've gotten in for test taking in the past. In the past, I would listen to Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, as like a fire up song. Mm-hmm. But at this point in my life, I'm definitely looking for that ohm a little bit more. So while I did not do Paraliminals per se, I definitely did find myself over this past several months finding certain delta wave relaxation music for deep sleep. Good. Or going to Ravi Shankar and other music that I find relaxing. Yeah. And that was a way to get my body, mind, and soul prepared.
Yeah, we think that's really important, that people come to the exam as calm and focused as they can be, and whatever tools help to do that. We offer some, like the Paraliminals, so that's a good thing. Now, you were part of some of our group coaching calls, weren't you, on the Facebook group?
I did, yeah. I joined several of them.
Can you talk a little bit about what that was like?
It was very, along with the video lectures, I would say that was the next thing that made me hire Celebration. The sense of community, the sense of one-on-one, real people conversation sort of a thing. As a very hands-on financial planner in my professional life, where I limit the number of clients I have because I want to do very high-touch customer service, sit on the same side of the table, whether it's virtual or in person. I really value coaching and mentoring very much. And I think for those people who are listening to this, who are aspiring entrepreneurs or might be hanging out their own law shingle, you should not shy away from clients who themselves are professionals, who are lawyers themselves, because the best ones won't say, oh, I don't need you because I'm a professional, I'm educated. No, they'll say, I understand what expertise is. I enjoy outsourcing parts of my life where I need help. I like hiring professionals. And so for me, the opportunity to interact one-on-one and in small groups with professionals like yourself and Kelly is a really big deal. And I see the value in it. So as somebody who sells it, I buy it.
Yeah. And Kelly told me, what a great contributor you were in the group coaching calls. And she was really excited, by the way, when I told her that you had passed. But for those of you that don't know, we do these group coaching calls for our registered students, and it's an opportunity for some accountability and motivation and just getting together and kind of where are you and what's happening, how your studies are going. And we really like that. We get a lot of great feedback about that feature in the course. So I'm glad you were able to take advantage of that. I'm sure that your experience as a teacher helps a lot there in coming into that setting.
And for those bar test takers who are not natural networkers or are maybe a little bit rusty and having conversations with real life lawyers after law school, especially if it's been a while, I think no bad can come from 30 minutes or an hour with a barred attorney.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. I think it's a natural networking. And one of the things we love about our Facebook group is that our passing students stay in the group and they hang out and they offer support and suggestions, and again, more networking. So I hope that you'll be one of those folks that hangs out there and yeah.
I'm a big cheerleader. I really wish the best for everybody. That's
great. Well, I think it's wonderful news to hear getting off the train that you've passed. I'm sure your family was thrilled. Your wife had to be thrilled that.
Well, because she knew especially that I was actually going straight from the train station to campus to give a lecture. So I got off the train to give a joint lecture hosted by the Business Law Forum in the Career Development Office.
Okay.
So I felt all the more comfortable and confident at some of the wisdom I was imparting.
Right. So you start by saying, by the way, I just passed the bar. It's always nice. Oh, that's great. Well, I really appreciate you sharing your story. I think that for a lot of people, it's really encouraging to know that it can be done. And even when there's a lot going on in somebody's life, that this is manageable and that our course is structured to be flexible. Is there any advice you would give people who are considering what to do now in terms of their studies or where to find a course? I mean, you've done a lot of different courses, a lot of different circumstances over the years. What's your recommendation to folks?
I know that you're such a big sports fan like me, and I think that you take a real sports psychology approach to getting people ready for exam days. Yeah. And so sometimes that really just means flipping it when it comes to adversity. So when you say I'm an example of somebody who was successful even though I had all this stuff going on, I flip it and say I was successful because I had all this stuff going on. My goals were staring me right in the face. Yeah. My children need to be fed. My wood stove needs to be fed. So I had no trouble with that. And being busy forced a certain amount of work ethic and organization upon myself. So you can lean into adversity.
Yeah, that's fabulous. I think that's absolutely true. And yeah, I'm just excited for you, pleased for you. This seems like another notch on the step, that you're headed. So that's exciting. It's going to be fun to see where you go with all of this and the things that you do. And I have to say, I'd be talking a lot more smack talk this morning if USC had won last night, but I'm feeling a little humbled today. So I'm just going to be quiet and say that I know there's nothing like game day. There's nothing as much fun as being on campus for game days, these big games. And, taking the bar for a lot of people is like game day. It's going out there and it's having that moment. And then you give it everything you've got, and then it's done, and you move on and keep going with your life. And I'm just so glad that for you, this has turned out to be a positive experience with the bar, and we're thrilled that you were part of our course. Just excited that you're here. Thanks for sharing your story. Any other comments? Anything else you want to share with us before we wrap up today?
I would say listen to Jackson on his informed opinions about the proportion of questions on the MBE that will come from different areas. I know you poked a lot of fun at big boxes and mortgages in the property realm or whatever. Yeah. Really, follow Jackson's lead. Your time is a precious commodity. For me, it was important, even in an area of great strength, and I know you're very interested in con law. That's my best subject area. But being reminded that, wow, there is an awful lot on rights. Even though the first 10 amendments to the Constitution are just that, amendments, and I read it for the articles. No, man, you need to go there with those first 10 amendments. That makes up, in my opinion, too much of the exam. I actually think a disproportionate amount of constitutional law is on that area. Not that I don't like civil liberties, but that is an area that is overemphasized in comparison to the amount of text of the document. And so knowing that encouraged me to bone up on the Bill of Rights and individual rights. And that was helpful. And everybody else in those different subject areas should listen to you. How much is on negligence? How much is on this and that? And if you can model your study time accordingly, that's probably a good decision.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. I'm always glad when people talk about that. I know that the rumor is always there's millions of mortgages questions. It's like, no, there isn't. But okay.
Yeah, July 2017, there might have been one or two. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's just crazy. So, I mean, people kind of walk themselves into that expectation. So there you go. Well, listen, congratulations again, and have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy the game. Thanks for sharing your time and your expertise and your insights with our students today. And for all of you in the audience, we appreciate so much that you check out these videos and interviews, and we'll look forward to sharing more with you as more results start coming in after these July 2017 exams. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.